I stared at the empty seat across from me, pretending to read my notebook, but all I could see was Emma Dawson's hair catching the sunlight. Alex, are you even listening? Ryan's voice snapped me back. I'm fine, I mumbled, my eyes still glued to her. Uh-huh, he said, rolling his eyes. You've been fine all semester. Totally normal to stare at a girl like she's some rare butterfly. I'm not staring, I said, though I didn't look away. Ryan laughed. Sure, buddy. Keep telling yourself that. You've had it bad since freshman year. I swallowed hard, remembering the first time I met her. She had this laugh that made the whole classroom turn, and her smile, it wasn't just pretty, it was alive. I don't know, I admitted. She's Emma. Everyone notices her. Yeah, everyone except the guy who's too scared to say anything, Ryan said, nudging me. Later, I found myself walking beside her in the campus library. My chest felt tight, and my stomach was full of butterflies I hated to admit. Hey, Emma, I started. Hey, Alex, she said brightly, not noticing my nerves. I wanted to tell you something, I said, fumbling with my books. Something important. Oh, is this one of those I love math confessions? She teased, laughing lightly. I shook my head, forcing a smile. No. I like you. More than a friend. Emma blinked, and then she laughed. I froze, my heart dropping. Alex, you're sweet, but I don't see you that way. You're like a brother. A brother? I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. Yeah, she said, smiling warmly, completely unaware of the storm she'd just unleashed inside me. You're my friend. That's all. I hope you understand. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Yeah, I get it. Later that day, Ryan caught me slouched on the couch in our dorm room, staring blankly at nothing. So, how'd it go? Terrible, I said simply. She doesn't like me. She laughed. You mean she smiled like usual and crushed your heart? He said. Classic Emma Dawson. I knew I shouldn't have told her, I admitted. I thought, maybe she'd feel the same. You're hopeless, Ryan said, grinning. But hey, at least you tried. I groaned, leaning back. Everyone else sees her. Everyone. And now I just feel invisible. Hey, Ryan said, sitting beside me. You're not invisible. You're Alex Carter. You'll find someone who doesn't make you want to die inside. I forced a small laugh, though my heart still ached. It doesn't feel like it. The next morning, I saw her again in class. Emma waved at me, cheerful as ever. My stomach twisted. Morning, Alex, she said. Morning, I replied, forcing a smile. I wanted to disappear into the floor. During lunch, I ended up sitting near her and her friend Sarah. Sarah gave me a sympathetic look. Don't take it too hard, she whispered. Emma, she's just unaware sometimes. Unaware. I muttered under my breath. She crushed me, Sarah. Laughing. Like it was nothing. Sarah sighed. I know. I've seen it before. But trust me, you're not the first guy, and you won't be the last. I feel like I'll never get over her, I said quietly, staring at my untouched sandwich. Sarah patted my arm lightly. You will. You'll learn to be stronger. Ryan caught up with me later, dragging me down the corridor. So, your big confession bombed. Are you going to crawl into a hole now, or do we hit the arcade? I forced a laugh. Maybe. Arcade sounds better than crying. As we walked, I couldn't stop thinking about Emma, the way she laughed, the way she didn't notice the hurt she caused. I kept imagining different scenarios, different endings where she felt the same way I did. None of them were real. Back in my dorm, I stared at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. A brother, a friend, nothing more. My chest tightened, and I felt tears prick my eyes, though I refused to let them fall. I whispered to myself, someday she'll see. And with that, I didn't sleep much that night, my mind swirling with humiliation, heartbreak, and a determination I didn't fully understand yet. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. I scrolled through my phone, trying not to look, but there she was again. Emma, smiling in some fancy restaurant with David Miller. Engaged, the caption screamed, and I felt my stomach twist. Wow, Ryan said from across the room. She really does everything perfect, doesn't she? Perfectly cruel, I muttered, tossing my phone onto the couch. Everywhere I look, she's winning. And I'm stuck. Stuck how? He asked. I don't know, jobless, directionless, and watching her live like she owns the world, I admitted. Ryan shook his head. You're dramatic. It's just social media. She probably has issues you don't see. I laughed bitterly. Maybe. But it doesn't matter. She's happy, engaged, moving on. And me. I'm still here. Alex Carter, nobody special. Look, Ryan said, leaning back. You can cry over her, or you can do something about your life. I didn't reply. He was right, but the jealousy burned. I remembered my first meeting with Mr. Thompson, my college mentor. He had this calm confidence, the kind that made you want to be better just by being near him. Alex, you need focus, he said the first time I met him. Talent alone isn't enough. You need direction, drive, purpose. I know, I muttered, avoiding his eyes. No, you don't, he replied. Not yet. But you will. Find your path. Don't let someone else's success define you. I had ignored him back then, drowning in thoughts of Emma. Now, his words replayed like a mantra. Maybe it's time, I whispered to myself. The next morning, I dragged myself to a job fair, scanning the crowd for opportunities. Recruiters smiled politely, handed me brochures, and I nodded like a ghost. I didn't feel ghostly. I felt invisible. Alex Carter, a voice said, and I turned. Mr. Thompson recommended you for an internship here. Oh, thank you, I stammered, shaking hands with a recruiter. As I left, I called Ryan. I got an interview at Jensen Corporation. Finally, he said. See, things are moving. I smiled faintly. Yeah, moving. Just slowly. I keep thinking about Emma, though. Seeing her everywhere makes me question myself. Why can't I have that? Stop comparing, Ryan said firmly. You're not her. You don't need to be her. Just do you. Easier said than done. That night, I sat with my laptop open, researching career paths, making a plan. I told myself Emma's success wasn't my concern. Yet the pain lingered, sharp and unrelenting. Days later, I met Mr. Thompson for coffee. So, he said, raising an eyebrow, still obsessing over Emma Dawson. I groaned. You don't understand. She's everywhere. Every post, every update. It's like a constant reminder that I'm failing. He shook his head slowly. Alex, your life isn't hers. Your potential isn't measured by who dates whom or who posts pictures online. Focus on building yourself. I know, I whispered, staring at the steaming cup in front of me. But it's hard. Seeing her like that, it hurts. Good, he said calmly. Let it hurt. Use it. Turn it into fuel. Anger, jealousy, heartbreak, they can be tools if you wield them right. But don't let them control you. I nodded slowly, letting his words sink in. I had spent years looking outward, longing for someone else's approval. It was time to look inward. Over the next few weeks, I started small. I applied for internships, polished my resume, and even practiced interviews with Ryan. You're improving, he said one night. I swear, you're actually confident now. I'm faking it better, I admitted, smiling. Fake it till you make it, buddy. That's life. I laughed softly. But deep down, I felt a spark of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not for Emma, not for revenge. Yet. Hope for me. Even as I rebuilt myself, a quiet determination settled in. One day, I wouldn't just be watching Emma from afar. One day, I'd have my own life, my own victories. And maybe then, the hurt wouldn't matter so much. For now, I focused on myself, hiding my bitterness under a careful smile. Every rejection, every post from her, every pang of jealousy, it fueled me silently. The world wouldn't wait for me, so I had to catch up, or overtake it. I walked into the office that morning, coffee in hand, trying to shake off the fog of Monday. My assistant, Claire, waved at me with her usual bright smile. "Morning, Alex. You look tense." "I'm fine," I muttered, though my fingers tightened around the mug. Claire tilted her head. "You're lying. What's up?" I shook my head, forcing a grin. "Nothing. Just paperwork." "Aha," she said, not buying it. "You always say that when you're hiding something. Spill it." I sighed, knowing she would see through me anyway. Emma Dawson just applied for the open position in my department. Claire froze for a second, then blinked. "Wait, Emma Dawson? The Emma Dawson?" "Yes, that Emma Dawson." My teeth clenched. I didn't expect to see her here. Not in a million years. Claire leaned against my desk. "Wow, talk about awkward. You okay?" "I will be," I said, trying to convince both her and myself. "But I don't know if I can be professional. Seeing her again, after all these years, it's a lot." "You're Alex Carter," she said, smirking. "You can handle this. Just don't explode in front of HR." I laughed, though it was bitter. Yeah, that would look great on my resume. CEO loses composure over former crush. Later, Emma walked into my office for her interview, all smiles and confidence. "Alex, wow, it's been, what, years?" I forced a smile. "Yes, years." She sat down, completely unaware of the storm she'd just walked into. "I'm so excited for this opportunity. Jensen Corp has always been a dream." "Of course," I said, keeping my tone neutral. "Let's start with your experience. Can you tell me about the project you led at?" I paused, letting her stumble slightly. "Well, at your last company." "Oh, that?" she said, laughing lightly. "It was a huge success. My team loved my leadership style. We increased sales by 20% in 6 months." "That's impressive," I said slowly. "And how did you handle conflicts within your team?" Emma shrugged. "I usually solve them quickly. People trust me to lead, and I make sure everyone's happy. No complaints." Claire peeked in, her expression amused. She caught my eye and gave a subtle nod. I was playing my part, polite, professional, calm. "Alex," Emma said suddenly, leaning forward. "I hope we get a chance to work together. I've always admired your career path." I forced a small smile. "Thank you. I'm sure we'll see how that goes. Let's move on to some technical questions." She answered quickly, confidently, but I noticed a few minor errors. Nothing fatal, but enough to make me raise an eyebrow. "Interesting approach," I said. "Tell me how you would handle a project with unexpected setbacks." "Well, I'd delegate, reorganize the team if needed, and make sure deadlines are met," she said. "I'm good under pressure." I nodded slowly. "And if your strategy failed? If deadlines were missed despite your efforts?" Emma blinked, slightly thrown. "Well, I'd try to fix it. Adapt. Learn from it." I leaned back, letting the words sink in. Good. Adaptation is important. Inside, I was imagining all the ways she could fail in this office, how karma could quietly tip the scales. "Everything okay, Alex?" Claire whispered when Emma left. I exhaled slowly. "I'm fine. Just remembering the past." Claire smirked. "You've got that look. The one that says, I could ruin someone's life and enjoy it." "Maybe just a little," I admitted, hiding my grin. "It's complicated." "I can imagine," she said, laughing softly. "But remember, professionalism first. Revenge, later." I nodded. Yeah, professionalism first. But my mind was already spinning with scenarios. A project mishap here, a missed deadline there. Nothing overt, just enough to test her limits. I wanted to see if she could survive the office jungle she thought she could walk into unscathed. That evening, I sat at my desk, reviewing her resume again. Each line brought memories of our college days. Her laugh, her teasing, the rejection that had cut me deeply. I whispered to myself, "You think you were better than me back then. Let's see how you handle reality now." Claire stopped by again. "You're quiet tonight. Planning your strategy." I smiled faintly. Maybe. Or just remembering old wounds. Either way, I'm learning patience. She nodded. Patience is good. Don't let anger cloud your judgment, though. You want control, not chaos. I know, I said. But deep down, a part of me relished the idea of subtle payback. Not cruel, not unfair, just letting the universe, and maybe me, do its work. The night ended with me staring at my computer screen, imagining the office turning into a game board. Emma thought she was untouchable. I thought otherwise. And when the time came, she wouldn't know how it happened, until it was too late. The past had returned, uninvited, arrogant, and oblivious. And I was ready. I walked into the office that Monday with a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. Claire greeted me with a smile. Big day, Alex. Ready to lead. I have to be, I replied, straightening my tie. It's complicated. You mean Emma? She asked knowingly. I nodded subtly. Yes. And I need to be professional. But it's hard not to enjoy this just a little. Claire smirked. Just a little. Don't let it consume you. I sighed. Right. Professionalism first. Later, I called Emma into my office. Emma, I've reviewed your initial projects. I'm assigning you the Blake account. It's complex and will require coordination across departments. She raised an eyebrow. The Blake account? That's huge. Are you sure I can handle it? I believe in your abilities, I said, keeping my tone neutral. It's a challenge, but I expect precision and accountability. Emma smiled, oblivious to the underlying tension. Of course, Alex. You'll see, I'll exceed expectations. As she left, Daniel, my loyal coworker, walked in. You really did that, huh? Did what? I asked, pretending to be casual. Blake account, he said. Tough assignment. She won't see it coming. I leaned back, a small smirk forming. I'm curious to see how she handles it. It's not personal, strictly professional. Daniel chuckled. Sure, strictly professional. Right. Later that afternoon, Megan, our office rival, stopped by my desk. Alex, heard you gave Emma Dawson the Blake account. Bold move. I'm testing her limits, I said calmly. Nothing more. Megan raised an eyebrow. She's confident. I wonder if confidence will be enough. I wonder too, I muttered under my breath, thinking about the college days, the rejection, the laughter that had haunted me. When Emma submitted her first progress report, I noticed minor errors, miscalculations, slight miscommunications, but nothing catastrophic. I scheduled a meeting. Emma, your report is thorough, but I noticed a few discrepancies, I said. Oh, where? She asked, leaning over the papers. Here and here, I replied, pointing. These could cause issues with the client if not corrected. How would you address them? I'd fix them immediately, she said confidently, though I caught a flicker of uncertainty. Good. Proactive solutions are key, I said. Internally, I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and guilt. Satisfying, because she was struggling under pressure. Guilty, because I was enjoying her discomfort. Later, Claire approached me. Alex, you're walking a fine line. She's competent. Don't let your personal history make you reckless. I know, I admitted. But seeing her stumble slightly, it feels deserved. Claire shook her head. Careful. Karma works in mysterious ways. Don't force it. I nodded, but my mind kept racing. I imagined subtle office setbacks, missed emails, scheduling conflicts, a miscommunication here or there. Nothing overt. Just enough to challenge her, test her patience. Daniel, I said quietly during a coffee break, keep an eye on department communications. I want to see how Emma manages cross-team projects. Of course, he said. You want a report, or just observation? Observation for now. I want to see her problem-solving in real time, I replied. Daniel gave me a knowing look. You're careful. I like it. But don't let this turn into a vendetta. I'm careful, I said. Mostly. That evening, Emma stopped by my office to ask a question about the Blake account. Alex, I'm considering adjusting the timeline for the client's deliverables. Do you think that's wise? I'd like you to present the adjustment plan, including risks and benefits, I said. Then we'll decide. Of course, she replied, jotting notes quickly. I'll make sure it's perfect. As she left, I whispered to myself, perfection isn't guaranteed. Let's see how you handle pressure when it's real. The day ended with me reflecting on my own conflicting emotions. Part of me wanted to crush her career, silently, subtly. Another part of me felt guilty for enjoying this revenge, even in its tiniest form. Yet, I told myself this wasn't personal. It was just professional reality. Claire stopped by one last time. You've done well today. You maintained control without losing composure. Thanks, I said. It's complicated. Every decision feels loaded. She nodded. It's always like that when the past collides with the present. Just remember, your actions define your future, not her failures. I know, I said, staring at the city lights outside the window. But it's satisfying to watch someone who once hurt me now face real challenges. Subtle, controlled challenges. Nothing overt. Just consequences. Claire smiled knowingly. Just don't forget the bigger picture. You're the one in power now. Don't let that blind you. I won't, I whispered, though my mind continued racing with plans. I imagined Emma juggling multiple tasks, deadlines shifting, small errors amplifying under pressure. Not enough to destroy her entirely, but enough to make her sweat. Enough to let her feel a fraction of the tension I had felt when she rejected me. And for the first time in years, I felt in control. Not of her heart, not of her life, but of the world around me. And that control, it tasted better than I expected. I stared at the email on my screen, my heart thudding in a way I hadn't felt since college. The Blake project, Emma's project, was in chaos. Deadlines missed, client complaints piling up, miscommunications across departments. And my name was at the top of the escalation chain. Claire, I muttered, rubbing my temples. She's blown it. Claire leaned over my shoulder. Alex, calm down. Mistakes happen. She's human. Human. I repeated, my voice tight. She's arrogant. She ignored advice, skipped steps, and now the client's furious. Claire placed a hand on my arm. Remember, you're her superior. Handle this carefully. Don't let personal history cloud judgment. I'm not. I'm thinking, I said, though part of me relished the moment. This was her breaking point. My mind raced with what I could say, what I could do. I could step in and fix everything, or I could let her fall. I called Emma into my office. She walked in, her usual confidence faltering slightly when she saw my expression. Alex, she started. Emma, I said, cutting her off gently. We need to talk about the Blake account. It's not going well. Her eyes widened. I don't understand. I thought everything was on track. I followed the plan. I know, I said carefully. But there were multiple issues. Deadlines missed, miscommunication with Daniel and Megan's teams, client dissatisfaction. You need to address this immediately. Emma's jaw tightened. So, you're saying it's my fault? I leaned back, keeping my tone calm. It's not about blame. It's about accountability. How will you fix it? She bit her lip. I can work overtime. I'll redo the reports, reassign tasks, clarify instructions. Emma, I interrupted softly. I could step in, reassign the project, save you. But I won't. This is a learning moment. You need to face the consequences of your decisions. Her face paled. You can't do that. You're my manager. You can't let me fail. I can, I said. My throat felt tight, my emotions tangled. And I will. Not because I hate you, but because this is reality. You can't run from it. You can't charm your way out this time. Emma's hands trembled slightly. Alex, I didn't realize you. I thought. You thought nothing would change. I asked, my voice steady. Years ago, you rejected me, humiliated me. That's in the past. What matters now is the present. You're responsible for your actions. Own them. Her eyes welled up, and for a moment I saw vulnerability I hadn't seen since college. She was used to smiling her way through life. That didn't work here. Claire appeared at the door, her expression firm. Alex, be careful. Don't let this cross personal boundaries. She's competent, but you're playing with her career. Balance is key. I know, I said quietly. I'm aware. Then step carefully, Claire said before leaving. Emma slumped into a chair. I can't believe this. You're not the same Alex from college. You hold power now. I swallowed hard. Yes, I am. And it doesn't feel good or bad, it just is. This is business, Emma. And business isn't forgiving. She buried her face in her hands. I thought you'd still be the same guy. Kind, naive, harmless. I shook my head. I'm not harmless anymore. I've learned. And now, so will you. Please, just help me, she whispered. I felt the familiar tug of old emotions, sympathy, anger, the tiny thrill of watching someone who once hurt me struggle. But I stayed firm. You have the tools. You know the procedures. You can fix this. I'll oversee, but I won't save you from yourself. Her voice cracked. Alex, this feels like revenge. I paused. It's not revenge. It's accountability. You'll learn more from this than from any lecture I could give. She looked up, tears streaming. You're cruel. I took a deep breath. No, I'm fair. I won't manipulate or sabotage you, but I won't protect you from your own mistakes. That's the lesson. Claire returned briefly. Are you sure about this? I am, I said. I've made my decision. She needs to face consequences. Claire nodded slowly, a mixture of approval and caution in her eyes. Then let's hope she rises to the occasion. As Emma left, defeated but determined, I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and guilt. Satisfaction, because she couldn't hide behind charm anymore. Guilt, because watching her falter, even slightly, stirred old emotions I didn't fully understand. I leaned back in my chair, closing my eyes. This was the breaking point. Years of unresolved feelings, professional rivalry, and karmic balance all converged in this moment. And I had chosen to let the universe, and perhaps myself, teach the lesson. The office was quiet, but my mind raced. I imagined Emma working late into the night, emails sent, calls made, mistakes corrected, all while understanding that her confidence alone wasn't enough. It was justice delivered subtly, professionally, and without malice. And as I looked out the window at the city lights, I realized, letting her fall didn't feel like revenge. It felt like closure. The HR office smelled like bland carpet and panic. I sat across from Emma, watching her attempt to hold herself together. Alex, this can't be happening, she said, her voice shaking. I'm afraid it is, I said calmly. The board reviewed the Blake project, and the errors were too severe to overlook. Your employment has been terminated effective immediately. She blinked, like she hadn't heard me. Fired? You can't do that. I'm engaged to David Miller. My reputation, my career, this is insane. I understand your frustration, I said softly. But policies and results are not influenced by personal connections or past relationships. This is business. And this outcome is the consequence of your actions. Her lips trembled, and she looked like she might collapse. Alex, please, there must be some way to fix this. I can redo the project. I can. No, I interrupted gently, but firmly. Redoing it now isn't an option. The deadline's passed, the client's lost trust, and the board has spoken. Your mistakes were public, measurable, and irreversible. David Miller appeared at the door, his suit perfect, his expression tight. Emma, he said, looking confused and concerned. David, she exclaimed, rushing to him. You have to help me. Alex is destroying everything I've built. You can stop him, right? David's eyes darted toward me, then back at her. Emma, I think this is on you. I can't interfere with company decisions. Her face went pale. What? You can't just. I'm sorry, he said, shaking his head. I can't. I thought I knew what was going on, but it's more complicated than I realized. Emma's hands gripped the edge of the desk. Alex, please. I can explain. I can fix it. You know me. You know I'm competent. I know exactly who you are, I said softly. I've known for years. But competence isn't measured by charm or confidence. It's measured by results. And results here were lacking. A few co-workers lingered outside the office, whispers passing through the hall. Daniel, my ally, gave me a subtle nod. Megan, ever the rival, smirked, her satisfaction thinly hidden. Emma's eyes darted around, noticing them for the first time. Everyone is watching me like I'm some joke. You are accountable to them, I said. And this is the reality of professional life. Reputation follows actions, not titles or promises. She sank into the chair, her hands in her face. Alex, I thought you'd understand. I thought you'd understand. I echoed, my throat tight. Emma, I do understand. I understand ambition, mistakes, arrogance, and pride. I understand rejection and how it feels to hurt someone unknowingly. I understand consequences. She looked up, tears streaming. You're heartless. No, I said, keeping my voice even. I'm fair. I gave you the chance to manage it yourself. I allowed you the dignity of trying, and now the results speak for themselves. HR cleared their throat, motioning her to collect her things. Emma, please pack up your office belongings. Security will escort you out if needed. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her personal items. Alex, do you know what you've done? You've ruined me. I've given you what the world gives everyone, accountability, I said quietly. My chest tightened. Part of me wanted to savor this more openly, but I restrained myself. This wasn't humiliation, it was consequence. David stood stiffly beside her, silent now. His presence, or lack of action, made the superficiality of her success painfully clear. I felt a strange satisfaction mixed with a hollow ache. Revenge felt good, but the emptiness alongside it reminded me how much I'd grown beyond the petty games of college. As Emma walked out, I overheard Megan whispering to a colleague, serves her right. Confidence without skill never lasts. Daniel came to my side. Alex, you did it. You stayed calm, professional. She'll remember this forever. I hope she learns, I said softly. Not from me, but from reality. That's the lesson she never got before. Claire appeared, looking concerned. You okay? I am, I said, but my voice was quieter than I intended. It's strange. Satisfaction, but also bittersweet. I wanted her to understand, but I don't relish her pain. I just wanted her to see consequences. Claire nodded. And you handled it perfectly. Subtle, professional, controlled. That's true power, Alex. Not vindictive action, but letting the system work. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension leave my shoulders. The office buzzed quietly, whispers fading as normalcy returned. Emma's downfall was not dramatic theatrics. It was quiet, inevitable, and real. Daniel clapped me lightly on the shoulder. Ready to move forward? I nodded, staring out the window at the city below. Yes. Forward. Not back. This was never about her anymore. It was about me, learning restraint, patience, and the power of letting life teach the lessons it needs to. Claire smiled softly. Good. You've earned your growth. And so has she, whether she realizes it yet or not. I turned back to my desk, clearing the emails, preparing for the next day, the next challenge. The storm had passed, but the clarity remained. I felt stronger, wiser, and oddly, free. I sat at my desk late that evening, staring at the city lights through the window. Everything was quiet, but my mind wasn't. I kept replaying the past few weeks, the Blake project, Emma's downfall, her terrified expression, David's indifference. The satisfaction I expected felt hollow. Claire appeared, coffee in hand. You look like you've been carrying the world, Alex. Everything okay? I don't know, I admitted. I thought firing Emma would feel like victory. But it's not. Claire nodded, setting the coffee down. Power without peace isn't worth much. You have to ask yourself, did you really need revenge, or did you just want closure? I rubbed my temples. Closure. I thought so. But now, I feel empty. Watching her struggle, even if it was fair, didn't fix the hurt from college. It didn't change the rejection, the embarrassment. It just happened. So maybe it's not about her at all, Claire said gently. Maybe it's about you. About learning who you are when the past doesn't control you. I considered that, taking a sip of coffee. I work hard to get here, Claire. I rebuilt myself while keeping my bitterness hidden. And yet, I let that bitterness shape my decisions, even if subtly. Was it really growth, or just revenge in disguise? Claire smiled softly. Growth includes self-awareness. You're starting to see it now. Later, Ryan called me, and I couldn't resist picking up. How's the hero of his own story? He teased. Bittersweet, I admitted. I got what I wanted, and yet I don't feel victorious. I just feel tired. Classic, he said, laughing. You thought crushing her ego would heal yours. Newsflash, life doesn't work like that. You grow, you learn, you move on. That's it. I know, I said quietly, but it's hard not to feel guilty. I keep thinking about what she's going through. It's harsh, Ryan. Too harsh. You're human, he said. Don't overthink it. But maybe check in on her? See if she's actually okay. I hesitated. Check in. After everything. Sometimes redemption isn't for the other person, Ryan said. It's for you. To know you acted with empathy, not just pride. The next morning, I discovered an email that caught me off guard. It was from Emma. She was struggling financially, struggling emotionally. She admitted mistakes she'd ignored, confided in her own way about feeling lost. I stared at the words, feeling a strange tug in my chest. Claire leaned over my shoulder. Reading that. Yes, I whispered. She's suffering. Not because of me. Well, partially, but because of reality. She's lost a job, her confidence, even her fiancé isn't standing by her. Does that change how you feel? Claire asked softly. I looked out the window, seeing the city in a new light. It does. I realized my journey wasn't about her punishment. It was about me. About proving to myself that I could overcome hurt, that I could rebuild. Revenge, it wasn't the point. Claire nodded. Exactly. The point is your transformation. Your strength. The rest is just life. I replayed the moments in my mind, the interviews, the mistakes, the confrontation. I felt pride, yes, but also empathy. Emma's struggles didn't erase her past arrogance, but they reminded me that everyone carries their own battles, visible or not. I picked up the phone and typed a brief, professional email. Emma, I hope you're doing well. I understand this period has been challenging. I wish you clarity and growth as you move forward. I paused before sending. It felt strange, an acknowledgement without indulgence, a gesture of maturity. Claire peeked over my shoulder. Well done, she said. You're letting go without losing yourself. I smiled faintly. It feels lighter, almost like closing a chapter one didn't know I needed to end. Ryan called again that evening. So, did you become a saint or something? He joked. Not a saint, I said. Just human. I realized that holding grudges, seeking revenge, none of it really healed me. Growth, reflection, empathy, those are what matter. Good for you, he said. Sounds like you finally leveled up. I leaned back in my chair, thinking of Emma, not as an enemy, not as someone who humiliated me, but as a person who had made mistakes and now faced consequences. And I was free. Free from bitterness, free from obsession, free to focus on my own path. I guess that's what I needed all along, I murmured to myself. Not revenge. Not punishment. Just growth. Claire smiled, sensing my shift. You're ready for the next stage, Alex. Whatever that may be. I looked at her, then out the window again. Yes, I am. And for the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace, not from victory, not from triumph, but from understanding. My journey wasn't about punishing Emma. It was about transforming myself. I walked into the conference room, the sunlight streaming through the tall windows casting a warm glow across the office. The city below buzzed with life, but inside, I felt a quiet sense of achievement. Years of struggle, heartbreak, and subtle revenge had led me here, Not to triumph over Emma, not to prove anyone wrong, but to finally find my own balance. Claire appeared at my side, holding 2 cups of coffee. Morning, Alex. Big day. I smiled faintly. It feels like it. Not because of meetings or projects, just everything finally feels settled. She raised an eyebrow. You mean Emma? I shook my head. Not just her. Myself, my growth, my choices. I'm finally moving forward without looking back. Ryan burst into the room, grinning. There's that calm, collected Alex I was hoping to see. How's it feel to not be plotting revenge anymore? I chuckled. Liberating. Honestly, it's better than I expected. I'm not focused on the past or on anyone else's mistakes. I'm just living. He nodded approvingly. Good. That's growth, my friend. That's real growth. Later, I walked to my office, opening emails and tackling projects with the same diligence I always had, but this time, without bitterness. Claire sat at her desk, organizing files, her presence a comforting reminder of how far I'd come. Alex, she said quietly, there's someone here to see you. I frowned. Who? Emma, Claire said softly. My chest tightened briefly. I hadn't expected to see her again, not after everything. But I braced myself, reminding myself that I was no longer the insecure, heartbroken guy from college. I was calm, composed, and mature. Emma stepped into my office, hesitating at the threshold. Alex. I gestured for her to sit. Hello, Emma. How have you been? She swallowed hard. It's been difficult. I lost my job, my relationship, everything I thought I had. I know, I said gently. I've seen some of your updates. I hope you're finding ways to cope. She nodded, her eyes glistening. I wanted to apologize. Not just for the past mistakes at work, but for how I treated you in college. I was arrogant, selfish, and I hurt you. I didn't realize how my actions affected others, especially you. I studied her for a moment. The old resentment stirred faintly but didn't control me anymore. Thank you for saying that, Emma. It means more than you know. Her voice shook. I envy you, Alex. You've grown, succeeded, and moved forward while I struggled. You're composed, respected, and confident. I wish I had learned from you sooner. I smiled softly, the old bitterness replaced by understanding. Everyone's path is different. You're learning now, and that's what matters. Life has a way of teaching lessons, even harsh ones. She took a deep breath. I needed to tell you. I regret the way I treated you, and I hope you've found peace. I have, I said honestly. I've moved past the hurt, past the revenge. What I've realized is that my happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's actions. It comes from my choices, my growth, and the people I value around me. Emma nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. I hope I can get to that point someday. You truly inspire me, Alex. I stood, offering a hand. Thank you, Emma. I wish you clarity and growth as you continue your journey. She shook my hand, her grip firm but respectful. Thank you, Alex. Really. For everything. After she left, I exhaled slowly, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. Revenge had taught me a lesson, but closure had given me freedom. Claire appeared beside me, her expression warm. Well, I feel lighter, I admitted. Not triumphant, not vengeful. Just free. It's amazing how letting go can feel stronger than holding on. She smiled. You've come a long way. You've learned patience, empathy, and the value of perspective. That's real power. Ryan popped his head in again. Celebratory lunch? He asked. You earned it, Alex. And no, I'm not letting you skip it. I laughed. All right. Lunch it is. As we walked to the nearby cafe, I reflected on the journey, the heartbreak, the ambition, the calculated revenge, the moral dilemmas, and finally, the growth. Every step had shaped me, but the people I surrounded myself with, Claire, Ryan, Daniel, even the lessons from Emma, had been the anchors. Over lunch, Claire nudged me. You're smiling differently now. Not just the usual, polite smile. The real one. I chuckled. It's genuine. I've stopped measuring my worth against others. I focus on what I can control, who I can help, and the choices I make for myself. Ryan raised his cup. To Alex Carter, finally free from the past, master of his own fate, and still humble enough to eat with us. I clinked my cup with theirs. To moving forward. Later that evening, I walked through the quiet streets, the sun setting behind the skyline. My mind was calm, my heart unburdened. I thought of Emma, of the past, of every challenge I had faced. None of it hurt anymore. Every obstacle, every heartbreak had led me here, to peace, maturity, and self-fulfillment. I whispered to myself, this is what it means to grow, to let go, to live. As I entered my apartment, I realized that the most important victories weren't measured in revenge or triumph over others. They were measured in personal growth, empathy, and the courage to face life with an open heart. Sitting by the window, watching the city lights twinkle, I felt a profound sense of satisfaction. Not because I had succeeded over someone else, but because I had succeeded over myself. The past was behind me, the present was mine, and the future, well, that was full of possibility. And for the first time in years, I smiled without restraint, fully aware that I had earned it.